So I wanted to touch on a story from Reuters, and excuse me, this came out of Boulder, Colorado on June 2nd. An Egyptian national charged with tossing gasoline bombs a pro-Israeli rally in Boulder, Colorado, injuring a dozen people. Planned his attack for a year, and he used Molotov cocktails instead of a gun because his non-citizen status blocked him from buying firearms, prosecutors said on Monday. He is being charged with a federal hate crime and attempted murder. The attack has been linked to outrage over Israel's military actions in Gaza. He is 45, and he told investigators he wanted to kill all Zionist people, but had delayed committing the attack until after his daughter had graduated from high school. Police and the FBI quoted the suspect as saying that he took firearms training to obtain a concealed carry permit, but ended up using the Molotov cocktail. He had overstayed a tourist visa and an expired work permit. So there's a lot to unpack here, like on many levels. But what I wanted to really get at the heart of this isn't so much the individual or his individual status or anything like that. That's just coming from Reuters, but is more the fact that there is so much tension and so much anger. And we know that anti-Semitism is a real thing. And we know that things don't exist in a vacuum. And we know two things can be true at once. And I just wanted to bring attention that, to me, like, this doesn't help anything. It doesn't help bring safety to the Palestinian people. It doesn't help end the humanitarian crisis. This just creates another crisis, another form of terrorism, and it impacts the people now living in the United States. And it's going to create, I think, even further divisions and further issues within our own communities, when, if anything, right now, we need to be building bridges and having conversations. And Pittsburgh, where I'm based, has one of the largest Jewish populations in the country. And I can tell you with certainty, I know people along the whole spectrum of feelings around what is going on here nationally, what's going on here with anti-Semitism in the United States, and also how they feel about what's going on over there. The Jewish people are not a monolith, and their feelings can span many forms. And so I just wanted to bring attention to the fact that committing this kind of violence here in the United States, or what happened a few years ago at the Tree of Life Synagogue, and the hate crime that was committed when a man walked in with a semi-automatic weapon and killed old people and people praying and children. Like, this doesn't help anyone. In particular, it certainly doesn't help the people of Gaza. And I feel like I wanted to make that statement very loud and clear, because I do want us to find a way forward here as a community. And I feel like if we're just becoming more and more splintered, and if nothing else, the Trump administration is going to exploit the hell out of what just happened here for their own gain. And that's also what concerns me, is that they're going to say, oh, look, this person was, undocumented, or this person is, Egyptian, or it's just going to create like yet a whole other mess. And it truly upset me on so many levels. So I appreciate the space to discuss this issue as well today.
I mean, the space is always available. I mean, You don't even need to ask for it. I think that one of the problems that people run into, and there's so many different factors of why these problems exist, I want to get into that a little bit too, is that because of the fact that Israel does its absolute best to try to tie basically the entire religion into the state itself, that unfortunately a lot of other people try to do that as well. And this is a huge problem that we see across the board. There are so many notable Jewish people who I see on a consistent basis who use their platforms day in and day out to adequately and accurately condemn the Benjamin Netanyahu administration. They call it a genocide. They're constantly advocating for the Palestinian people. And they feel a sense of obligation to do that as a member of the Jewish community. And I think that too many people are seeing what's happening in Gaza right now and just assuming that, you know, the state of Israel and Jewish people are one and the same when it's not in and of itself. This person said he was planning this attack for over a year. He was trying to attack Zionism, which essentially, you know, like, trying to make it seem like he's trying to attack, you know, people who were sympathetic to the state of Israel. But how could he have known what these people were thinking? I mean, he just attacked people that he saw that were Jewish, you know, and that is a hate crime. That is just pure and simple. There's just no getting around that. And that is antithetical to what we're trying to achieve here. You know, because at the end of the day, you know, I think that what we need to be persecuting is actions of a government. We want to be separating Benjamin Netanyahu from the Jewish people, not trying to further tie them together, which is what the goals have been for them all along. They want everyone to feel some sense of connection to the state of Israel through their religion, so that when they do anything as a government, and people criticize it, they can call it anti-Semitism, which is what they've been trying to pass here in America, is by saying, well, if you criticize the state of Israel, you're actually criticizing the Jewish people. That has been their stated goals all along. We don't actually want to further entrench that philosophy, which is what they've wanted all along. No, I cannot condemn this, you know, high enough. I cannot condemn this high enough. Violence in any form against civilians is what we are protesting against.
Thank you. Yes. Yes.
Violence against civilians is what we are protesting against. You know, I mean, so like, yes, at the end of the day, everyone is upset right now from what I think most rational people who have a soul are upset right now about what's happening. But the answer to that is never to attack civilians. That is never the answer. There's never the answer. You can't condemn that happening over in Gaza and the West Bank and then carry that out here. That's not the kind of people that we want to be in any way, shape, or form, Natalie.
I couldn't agree more. And I really think for me, it's about having a consistent philosophy. And like you just said, you nailed it. The philosophy is we don't condone attacking civilians, period. Period, in any situation for any reason. And I just think that when we get really off track is when we run into problems, and it creates that further splintering, which is exactly what oppressive governments want. They want you infighting, they want you splintered, and they don't want you paying attention to what they're actually doing, which is stripping away your personal freedoms and causing real harm to people all around you. So yeah, I two things can be true. And I'm just glad we were able to have that conversation today.
Right. And there's something I want to add on to the end of this, because I think it's really important to the online discourse that I see around this particular conversation. People try to justify violence by talking about how, well, a lot of people in Israel actually agree with what's happening. Like, I got to tell you, we are right now in America being very much threatened by what we deem to be just obscene ideas from the Republican Party, how they want to integrate like the 10 Commandments into schools around the country, about how they want to destroy the Department of Education because they want to start siphoning public dollars into private schools so they can essentially create their own curriculum. Well, what is the end result of that? The end result of that is just be creating a curriculum that basically you get to create propaganda for your students that has no checks whatsoever. And then you can basically just teach them that to love. What do the Republicans always say? We want to teach them to love their country, so on and so forth. You're like forcing patriotism on them, forcing them to just like love the state above anything else. If you take that to its logical conclusion, this is what I talked about before when I said that Benjamin Netanyahu is actually the further right version of Donald Trump. That essentially is what they're trying to get to. They want to create this ultra like nationalistic, place. What has happened in Israel over the years is the direct result of a country taking over and enforcing their will and their ideas onto the populace and making it so that like whatever they think people should believe, people end up just believing as time goes on. And so over in Israel, they teach these people that Palestinians are like less than human, that they are subhuman. I mean, I think that the people over in Israel who are okay with this genocide, I think that is a direct result of years and years and years and years and years of propaganda by the Israeli state. I don't think that we are going to uncouple that by continuing the violence, by continuing this dehumanization. No,
That's
like
right.
you have to like pull these things apart and see it for what it is. I mean,
That's
at the end
right.
of the day, I want to see Benjamin Netanyahu and his government. I mean, I think they should be arrested. I think they should be tried
Yes.
as war criminals, but I do never want to conflate what they are doing with the people who live in Israel. I just do not believe that that is a good idea.
I couldn't agree more. And I do think it is a warning to the United States for those exact reasons that propaganda is really, and the disinformation, once again, is a cancer that spreads very quickly. And it always sort of leads to this conclusion of violence through
Yeah.
separations. Yeah. Within
Yeah.
populations. And that is not how we are meant to live. We're just not meant to be like that.
Yeah.
You know? All
No.
right.